Okay, so welcome to Scorecards 30 Minutes to Boost Your Sales Confidence. This is for prospecting. I know there's a lot of ways that sales confidence can come into play, closing deals, process, and so forth, but we're really going to hone in on the prospecting aspect and how confidence deals with that. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Aaron Jacobs. I've been doing sales for the better part of my life and career through leadership and management and direct sales. Basically, I am very passionate about sales. I love it. I love teaching. So when you find me in this environment, this means that you're in my happy place. So welcome to my happy place. Our belief is that we give people a path to success, the tools to get there, and give them a reason to smile along the way, and they will find success. So enough about me. Let's talk about what we're going to learn about here. This is the agenda. It may look long, but we'll get through it fairly quickly. We have to talk about the fundamentals of prospecting to start out with. I'm going to tell you the truths about prospecting. Then we're going to go into persistence and confidence. So we're going to get to the confidence aspect. We'll talk about faith and confidence, and we'll have time for questions. Give you a 30-second commercial, who Scorecard is. We are an integrative sales process improvement company. That means we focus on boosting your productivity and your sales. We use tools and processes to generate sustainable revenue for a very long time. And our tagline is, we create great sales processes with tools, technology, and training. So with that, let's get on to talking about confidence and prospecting. So let's talk about the fundamentals of prospecting. This is something we can all agree on. Identifying potential customers, connecting them with converting them into buyers of your products and services. That's really what prospecting is. Where we might start to disagree is what the little details are in prospecting. So I would say it includes a diverse range of activities. It doesn't just mean they're making phone calls all day or grinding around the pavement all day long. It's a range of things. It's also a variety of techniques, and we're not going to go over technique today, but we're talking about, could be hard selling, it could be pain selling. Consultative selling is popular. Some people do features and benefits. I'm not favoring one or the other. Just have whatever your technique is. But why is it important? Salespeople do not like to default to prospecting. They do not like to default to cold calling. We don't look at our schedule and say, hey, I've got an extra hour here, I'm going to start cold calling. We just don't do that. And I understand why. We'll cover that in a moment. But prospecting is important because it keeps the pipeline full of opportunities. If we start to see the results anemic or we're falling short of our goals, you look back at your pipeline and there's always a direct correlation between your pipeline and prospecting and your opportunities and goals. So the other reason why it's important is that we can't rest on our laurels, right? Customers that we have that we're happy with eventually over time move on for whatever reasons they have, and you have a natural attrition. If you're not constantly looking to put more people into your pipeline, then you will fall victim to the attrition of your existing customers. Prospecting also creates brand awareness. Just you getting out and telling people who you are and what you do creates brand awareness. And the other nice thing about it is prospecting creates conversations. And it gives us the time to learn about what customers like or potential customers would like and do not like or find valuable, whatever. You get that feedback loop from prospecting that you cannot get from straight marketing. But why do salespeople dislike prospecting? And I get it, at least 50% of salespeople don't like to prospect. That's probably a conservative number. And the first reason they'll tell you is they don't like rejection. That's human nature. We don't like to be told no. We don't like to feel like we've been judged. And because of that, it impedes our confidence. And this is what we're talking about today, our confidence. The other thing about it is we don't have the experience of success behind us. We've never done well at prospecting, so we just tend to figure that it doesn't work and we don't want to do it. The most logical argument a salesperson will give you to not prospect is to say, I don't want to annoy somebody. I don't want to be a pest. I don't want to come across as being that salesperson. We'll cover that in a moment too. You've not been trained properly to do it. More often than not, we give salespeople a box of business cards, send them out into the world and wish them luck. That does nothing good for our confidence. And the other reason is we may not have the motivation. You may say, I like my book of business. I'm good where I'm at. I'm well compensated. I'm not going to go out and prospect. So these are the reasons that inhibit prospecting in our sales organizations. But why do we personally struggle with it? One, a lot of us lack the absolute training in going out and prospecting. We've never done it before, or we haven't done it for a long time. We may have switched careers. We may be selling one thing that was different than what we sold 10 years ago, and we have to kind of start over again. The other thing we just talked about a moment ago is a lack of preparation, where we have a group that comes in, we give them the business cards, and that's it. We don't give them preparation, and we don't give them a process. So without all of this, salespeople struggle with prospecting. And the big thing is lack of control. I mostly mean our self-control, who we are and what we're doing. But it can also be a lack of control in your process. You don't control the sale, you don't control the customer, and this comes back to our confidence. But let's wrap our mind around the facts about prospecting. Not that it's just important, but here are the truths about prospecting. And the first thing is, when you're out cold calling, your call is always unexpected. No one is expecting you to call them. I get that. You need to get that, because the fact here is that you're always calling at a bad time, no matter what. When you talk to somebody, it's never a good time. And here's a little tip to take with you. If you're out cold calling people, whether in person or on the phone, you don't say, hello, my name is John. How are you today? Don't do that to people. They don't have time for that. Instead, go to them and say, hi, my name is John. Did I call you at a bad time? And almost always I'll say, yeah, you kind of did, but what's this about? So you get that out of the way, and they've now given you permission to talk to them in 30 seconds or less about what you want to talk about. Did I call you at a bad time? It works. You are going to be a disruption. That's what salespeople have to do to be successful, to win new business, is you have to disrupt people. You have to disrupt their day. You have to disrupt their existing relationship. You have to disrupt a lot of things to win their business. You must be the disruption. Embrace that, because you must get noticed. Salespeople who don't get noticed don't get sales. You know, good, bad, or otherwise, the ones that you see all the time that constantly are persistent and consistent, they get noticed, they get the business. It also takes more than one attempt when it comes to prospecting. You can't just say, well, I tried that guy 2 times and he didn't call me back, or I tried that woman, I sent her 3 emails, she didn't say anything back. It takes several attempts. The other thing, and this is the big truth that most salespeople are unaware of about prospecting, is the goal of the prospect. You ask your salespeople, you ask yourself, when you call somebody for the first time, what is your goal? And they'll tell you things like, well, my goal is to either kind of sell something, or my goal is to get to know their pains, or to get to know them, or this and that. It's not, and it never is, and it never should be. The goal of every prospecting meeting is to get a meeting. That's it. When you realize it's that simple, suddenly our confidence goes up because the goal is more attainable. Here's the biggest thing. No is okay. You're not going to win every deal. You're not going to win every prospect. You're not going to get every meeting. It's not mathematically possible. It doesn't happen for any salesperson ever. You can't win them all. When you realize that it's okay to accept a no, suddenly the pressure comes off and we make room for confidence. So let's talk about persistence and confidence. So now we're getting somewhere. But before we do that, we have to have this conversation. You cannot fix people problems. I cannot fix myself. I cannot fix you. I cannot fix your team. We cannot fix one another. That doesn't happen. We know this through psychology. If you try to fix people, you will burn them out, you will get frustrated, and you a lot of times will make things worse. You must accept the fact that you are who you are, confident or not confident. Here's the trick. Even though you can't fix people, you can patch them. And you do this with coping mechanisms. This is something we employ every day in our lives, is coping mechanisms, ways to get us around the things that keep us from where we want to be. And that's what we're going to focus on when developing confidence. But we need to talk about persistence first. Confidence without persistence is just egotistical and laziness. Persistence means, one, you have to have a goal. It is not enough to say, I'm going to work as hard as I can and come what may. You need a definite target of what you want to have. We know this as people, and yet we ignore it quite often. Because once you have a goal, you can develop a plan. Without a plan, you can't be confident. And once you have that plan, salespeople love shortcuts. More than anybody in your company, salespeople love shortcuts. You must resist the temptation to take a shortcut. You must go after persistence. That means maintaining a schedule. That means managing your process. And of course, procrastination kills all great intentions of salespeople. Because when it comes down to the moment of truth, suddenly, well, but let me do that first. We cannot procrastinate. But more importantly than anything, when I said no is okay, so is making mistakes. You have to give yourself the gift of forgiveness. Not only should you be making mistakes and be allowed to make them, they're there for us to grow and learn from. You must seek them out sometimes. You must embrace them. You must share them with other people and give you perspective. It's okay to make mistakes when you're prospecting. Don't let that mess up your confidence. So here comes the meat and potato of how we create coping mechanisms to create confidence. So this is a lot of self-talk that we're doing right now. I have to prospect and cold call all the time. These are things that I actually do. These are things that I have clients do. I do them and I have them do it because it works. The first thing, you almost have to tell your prospect this before you dial the phone, is to tell them that you can't hurt me, but I can help you. And what do I mean by that? When I say you can't hurt me, one, the other person on the line cannot physically assault you. Secondly, they cannot take your birthday. They cannot have you arrested for calling them. Even if they're on a do not call list, you still can't get arrested for that. They probably won't go onto social media and besmirch your good name. It's a 10, 20-second moment in time. No one is going to hurt you. It's going to be okay. And you can help them. Because number two, remind yourself you're bringing them good news. What you have solves a problem. What you have makes their lives better, or it makes an improvement some way. You're bringing them good news. They should be excited to talk to you, especially if it's a good fit. The third thing, managing self-talk, is remind yourself, I'm not a pest. I may be a disruption. I can accept that I'm a disruption. I may be an interruption, but I'm not a pest. I'm a problem solver. And this interruption is the first thing, the first step in making an improvement in somebody's life or business. That's a fact. This is where it all begins. Number four, remind yourself, I get it, you want the sale. I know you're hungry. I understand the need, but sometimes we just have to start the process. And you just have to settle for getting somebody's attention. Sometimes good enough is good enough. Number five, remember, as salespeople, we need to win people over, but we're not out to make friends. We're out to find good customers, somebody that fits well for us and somebody whom we fit well for. So don't worry about going out and trying to be liked by everybody. It won't happen, and it shouldn't happen. You're trying to find somebody that's going to be a good customer. The other thing is, and here's a simple thing for confidence, is set easy goals. If you just look at your annual goal and just grind away at that, that will wear you down. But set your goal as, maybe I just want 3 meetings this week. Suddenly that sounds a lot more than making 200 phone calls. For some people, they actually said, I just want to hit 10 no's today because I know if I hit 10 no's, I get 2 yeses. Set an easy goal each time and watch how you hit it and get towards where you want to be. Manage your self-talk. So if you're familiar with Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, he'll tell you about auto-suggestion, where you have to tell yourself things like, I deserve to be successful. How many of us salespeople, when we wake up in the morning, come to work, remind ourselves that I deserve to be successful because I'm doing the right things? Well, that's something we can remind ourselves before we even get on the call. Come what may, yes, no, or otherwise, I still deserve to be successful, and I will get there. Number 8, most salespeople know, but we forget it, is that no really means not today, that things will change over time. that their needs will change, the people will change, the circumstance will change. So just because you hear no today, that can be a yes tomorrow, but you have to introduce who you are, the idea of what you do, the idea of what you can provide to them. Number 9, I've already said this. Remember that the goal is to get the meeting when you're prospecting. That's it. Get the meeting, and then we'll worry about that step when we get there. And number 10, our consistency and confidence work well together. If you do this over and over again, you'll see results. Your confidence builds, and be open-minded to the possibility of what you're doing. Be consistent while being persistent. Now, here's the biggest patch of all. Here's where it really all comes together: confidence and faith. They're like twins. They kind of look alike, but they're actually very different. And let me explain that. So confidence is very simple. It's derived from past experience and successes. That's it. I've done this before, therefore I know I can do this again. I am confident. Confident is a critical trait for successful salespeople. You cannot be a successful salesperson without confidence. It doesn't happen. We do not fall up the steps. So you have to find a way to get to that confidence. We need the coping mechanisms, because when you achieve confidence, you become rejection proof. And isn't that what we want as salespeople? To kind of let the no's bounce off of us, let them roll away. But I told you I can't fix people, and you can't fix people, and you can't fix yourself. This isn't a switch we flip. This is going to take time. This takes practice. This takes consistency and persistence. Because confidence, well, that may be absent at the moment, can be bridged with faith. And when you know how to develop the faith techniques, the confidence starts to evolve on its own. So what do I mean by faith? Faith is with a belief without proof or experience. The most relatable way I can say is what happens after death. None of us really knows, but we have an idea in our mind what happens. And that's faith. Faith is what will get you to confidence. And you look at your product, whether you're selling widgets or services or whatever it is, know that what you do improves people's lives. If you can have faith in your product and people read faith on you, what they'll actually see is confidence. You have to have faith in your process. Believe that what you're doing is going to work. Even when there are days where it's not getting you to where you want to be, you cannot give up. You have to believe that you're on the right path. And eventually you see the results, and now we start to develop confidence. But the biggest thing is learning to have faith in yourself. All of us have been a new salesperson at some point and had to develop that faith in ourselves. And in some cases, some of us have taken on new careers and new industries and had to start all over again in sales and had to reignite that faith in ourselves to start over and build that book of business. You have to have faith in your product. You have to have faith in your process. You have to believe in yourself, because faith will lead you to confidence. That's how you get there. The key to success is the faith in knowing that you're right. Period. If you can do this, and I know that you can do this, what can you expect? If you have confidence, you will have a competitive advantage, because a lot of salespeople struggle with this. We want to come out and differentiate. People understand and gravitate to confidence. Confidence, just use the word gravity, it does. It draws people to it. It has a gravitational pull and naturally increases sales. And when you have that stronger pipeline we talked about at the beginning of the presentation. If you have a strong pipeline, you have increased sales. You can understand that. But more importantly, what I think really should matter to salespeople is that you have this greater sense of job satisfaction, that you love what you do because you're confident in it. People who love their jobs more so do so because when they have an impact, and also because they know they can do it well. And when you do that, now we have less stress. And salespeople who portray less stress tend to have more opportunities in sales come to them. That's why confidence is so critical here. So remember, no one can hurt you. You're going to be okay. Nothing is going to go wrong if you try to reach out to somebody. Be persistent. I understand that some days it's not always feeling like in the zone, but get yourself there and you will find out you'll be where you want to be. And then of course, be consistent. When we do things over and over again, that's when we start to see these results. Interestingly enough, I say the goal of sales is not to make friends, but peripherally, we make friends along the way. Isn't that kind of the nice thing about being in sales, is making new friends? You know, then these people you didn't otherwise know, as you start to develop things for their needs and so forth, you develop that relationship with them. So you get that extra boost in life and enrichment from having new people in your life because you took the risk of reaching out to them. And your treasure awaits. And I don't know if that's more income, that can be a promotion, that can be growth, that can mean a lot of things. But you keep after it with confidence, you will get a reward at the end of it, one way or the other. You will win the game. So conclusion, prospecting and confidence, there's no way around it. Without it, you cannot be successful in sales. You have to find a way to develop that confidence. And no is okay. Take off that pressure. Make your life easier. You're allowed to make mistakes. I get that. Don't make a bad day ruin your confidence. You can get there. Follow your process and be faithful in your process, your product, and yourself until you achieve confidence. So time for questions. I'm going to hit the stop share and the record button.